Hey there, this is Jexy with the Systems Alliance, and in this video I want to go over Nintendo's E3 press conference, as well as what's happening as a result of that to their stock. So as many people are talking about, Nintendo's E3 press conference was a little bit of a drab. They had a huge one in 2017, so I don't think it's fair that the expectations were that they needed to top their 2017 E3 press conference, but people still want something good, and you basically got absolutely nothing. They have a new Smash Brothers game, which they always seem to do, and that's basically it. Now, as far as the good stuff, really, once back to the Smash Brothers game, it is bringing back all 65 plus characters that have ever been in a Smash Brothers game, so that's pretty cool, and you'll get to play as all of them. People weren't sure if it was a port though or something. The graphics aren't really recognizable as something that looks super great, so it's kind of hard to tell. Their actual press conference didn't make it very clear what exactly people were getting, so I'm sure that didn't help the perception of their press conference or the game. But as far as the game, it looks like another fun Smash game, but nothing that can hold up an entire company like Nintendo. And because of that, as soon as they had their press conference, their stock tanked. It dropped immediately Tuesday right after their conference and has kind of gone down in the days since then. For the whole month of June, people were kind of anticipating this, and their stock is down a whopping 16%, their largest slide in 3 years. As far as year to date goes, their stock price was at a high of 58 and is now down to a low of 43. So they do have some work to do. They don't seem to be inspiring too much confidence from their investors, and unfortunately their E3 2018 performance is not helping that. Now, one good thing for gamers that also came out of the Nintendo press conference is the fact that Fortnite, the biggest game in the world, is now going to be available on the Nintendo Switch, and you'll be able to cross-platform play with Xbox One owners, PC owners, and even Apple iOS owners. So you all can play with each other, and that's pretty awesome. However, Sony is not participating in that, and so for me, Sony is starting to get me a little bit worried as far as their consumer practices go. If you remember back in the day, Sony ruled the world with the PS2. May have not really made them any money because by the time its end run, it was just finally wiping out all its production costs from the beginning, but still took over the gaming world. So with the PS3, you would assume they'd be right back on top, but they botched the launch, they really screwed it up, the price points were unattainable, they weren't making enough of them, so people couldn't even buy them if they wanted to, and there were no games, and the way it was being marketed was not really as a game system, and so it crashed. They ended up recovering, but it took him forever, and once again, they didn't make any money on the PS3 either. The Xbox 360 ended up taking over the game world, and that dominated that entire generation. But then Microsoft didn't learn their lesson, did the same stupid stuff that Sony did with the PlayStation, and ended up losing their footing once again, trying to make people buy the Kinect at an unreasonable price point, trying to sell it as an entire entertainment system instead of focusing on games. They switched their president out, and now they're focusing on games, and I'll get into that press conference in another video. But it seems like Sony is going back to doing the same stuff again that got them in trouble in the first place, that got Microsoft in trouble in the second place. So hopefully they'll learn and start paying attention to gamers as opposed to their ego, which is really the only reason you would not allow PlayStation players to cross-platform play with everyone else. The head of Nintendo's US operations was trying to appease investors by letting them know that they still have games coming, but they may have just not showcased them at E3 2018, which to me, one, it's his job to make sure their stock doesn't tank anymore, but on the other hand, you knew when E3 was coming and you don't even have enough to show anyone. So it is a little concerning that they're unable to come up with a good presentation when all the eyes in the world are looking on them, and they know it's going to directly affect their stock. And that's exactly what happened. People for a while have just been saying Nintendo still has no third-party support, that technology-wise they're still way behind, and it doesn't allow them to have the graphical enhancements that other platforms, such as the Xbox One, PS4, PC, really everything is able to operate with. So while he's saying they're going to have more games, we'll just have to wait and see and hope he's right. Let me know what you think about Nintendo's current path. Do you think that they need more third-party support? Were you disappointed with their E3 press conference and the fact that they just aren't showcasing many games at all? Are you even worried about Smash Brothers that doesn't seem to be that innovative or anything like that? Sure, they're having a ton of characters, but that doesn't necessarily mean the game's all that different, even if it does have a few more maps. So let me know what you think about all of that, and we'll see you next time.